Okay, so just to repeat something that I've said several times, but I think it bears repeating again. Do remember that before you watch any of my videos, you should complete the reading and or the viewing that I cover in the videos so that you have a much, much better and deeper appreciation for the subjects that I cover. These videos are not meant at all to be a stand-in for you actually completing the work. So as you can see here, this is the website that I've assigned for you, or the web page that I've assigned for you to read this week. It's part 3, cinematography, and as you go down through here, you'll see that there's several high quality examples of not just the definitions, but also visuals to help you to understand this terminology that is very specific and probably foreign to most of you. And this jargon is going to be incredibly important to you as we progress, because this is all folding into not only the homework assignments that I'm giving you, but also our final project where you're going to be creating your own transmedia project. So do make sure that you read through this first. If you have not already read through this page, stop the video now, go do it, and then come back and start the video again. One thing I do want to draw your attention to is the idea or the reality that the internet is forever. This particular website that I'm sending you to, I send you all to it because it's free, it's on the internet, as opposed to you buying a book. And it's chock full of really good information, and so I don't see any reason why I should ask you to buy a book when this information is available for free from Yale, and we can just borrow from their know-how. But I want you to notice that up here, you see that it's from the Internet Archive Wayback Machine. And that's because this actual website that I've been using for years to teach the various aspects of filmmaking has been pulled down by Yale. And so what's really cool, and you can use this for any internet website that you like and that gets pulled down, is that you can go to what's called the Wayback Machine website. And what you do is you go here and you put in the URL of the film or the website that, or web page that is now gone, and it will, if you click here on Browse History, it will show you all of the days in which they archived the website. This is called crawling. So there are actual websites out there that crawl the internet, and they basically take archival photographs or snapshots of what the website looked like on that day. And so you can see that this website, it was first crawled in 2002, and then it got increasingly more traffic, and then it went down, and then it keeps being crawled a little bit, I think because of me, because I keep assigning this website, even though it's been pulled down for a while. But because the internet, just like with lots of other different types of mediums that we use, is actually not as ephemeral as people think it is. You know, you can pull down a page and it will still exist out there. So that that saying that the internet is forever is really true. So if you had something that you put up and then you took it down and you think it's gone, it's not. We can find it. There are ways around, and the assignment that I've given you guys is proof of that. Because this website was taken down a long time ago, and yet we can still access it. Yay! So do make sure that you read through this, and now that you have double checked and you've learned about archiving, we're going to go on to talking specifically about cinematography in a couple examples that I hope will help to solidify what cinematography means, and also how it's going to be important for you within this class. So again, cinematography, the art or technique of movie photography, including both the shooting and development of the film. So one of the terms that we come up against in cinematography that I think gives students the most trouble is racking focus. So I do want to start with an example of this first. so here we go. Racking focus, basically what it is when the focus within a shot is changed. It uses shallow focus, but it goes between the planes that are within the shot. So again, I stressed last week, and I'm going to keep stressing, that there is a difference between deep space and deep focus. There's a difference between shallow space and shallow focus. And here we're going to see an example of, you know, a kind of deep space. There is a foreground, there's a middle ground, and there's a background. And specifically, we're going to see a shift between shallow focus, where it shifts from being focused on what's in the foreground to being focused on what's in the background. And if you know me, you know that I am not a fan of weaponry, but I do like this particular video because it very clearly and concisely shows you the difference in what is a racking focus, where we're focused first on the muzzle of the gun, and the person who's holding the gun is out of focus, and then the focus changes where the gun goes out of focus and the person comes into focus. So let's watch this video together. You ready?
When, how. There's also a third. Why.
Okay, so as you can see, that was racking focus. It's a really good example where we have several things within the shot: the foreground, the middle ground, and the background. And the focus shifts from being in the foreground to being on the background. And so that changes where our eye is being directed by the cinematographer. Okay? Now, another thing that's really important about cinematography is how you frame the shot. So this is an example of an extreme long shot. And I've chosen some photos from here at Coastal Carolina University to make this point. So this is an extreme long shot that is deep space. We have the foreground here, it's all in focus. The middle ground here also in focus, and then the background here also in focus. Crisp, clear lines. So here we have deep space and deep focus. We could have deep space and have shallow focus, where, say, perhaps only the middle ground is in focus, but that's not what we have an example of here. We could also have deep space where, with shallow focus, where only the background's in focus. Again, that's not what we have here. What we have here is deep space, deep focus. Now, this is a long shot compared to an extreme long shot that has the entire area encased in it. Here we have a long shot where you can tell it's a long shot because the persons who are the object of the photo are not filling up the entire frame. This is the frame, the outline, the edges. But it's a long shot because they're obviously, you know, what we're supposed to be looking at, but they don't fill up the entire frame. We also have the background here of the stand, of the people in the stands. So again, we have deep space, deep focus. We have the foreground, the middle ground, the background. All three of these levels are in clear focus. Now here we have a medium long shot, which in this particular example has deep space but shallow focus. And this is one of my former students. Interesting. So you can tell it's a medium long shot because the people who are the principal objects of this shot are being cut off at the knee. You see that? Now, a lot of times when students are learning this particular term for the first time, they think they'll rewrite the definition as saying that a medium long shot has an object that's 3 to 4 feet tall in it. That is an imprecise thing to say because obviously these football players are not 3 to 4 feet tall, but what we have is 3 to 4 feet of the object in the shot. Okay, so here we've got a 6 foot tall football player, but the bottom 2 feet of his body are cut off. This shot is also known as the plain American, and the reason why is because in classic Hollywood cinema, this shot was created in order to make sure that the guns that were worn around and on holsters around one's waist were kept in the shot so that the viewers could maintain their focus on the action, specifically the action associated with the weaponry that was so popular in American Western movies that were being produced during the time and are still produced. So this is a medium long shot. Again, you can see that this is deep space. We've got the foreground, we've got the middle ground, we've got the background, but only the foreground is in focus. He is in crisp, clear definition. This guy right here, you can already see he's getting blurry, and what's in the background is extremely blurry. So deep space, shallow focus. I'm going to keep emphasizing that because it's really important you know the distinctions. Now here we have a medium close-up shot. The medium close-up shot is the most common shot that we see in films. And basically, you know it's a medium close-up shot because you've got, well, basically the pectoral muscles included in the shot, as well as our subject's face. And again, we can see this is deep space, shallow focus. We've got the stands in the background. They're extremely blurry and out of focus. This player behind the coach, out of focus. And the coach himself is in crisp, clear focus. So it's a medium close-up. We've got the coach from his chest up through his face. It's deep space. We have several levels of space here, but it is shallow focus. Now here we have a close-up shot. A close-up shot basically is usually a human head, but it might be any object, and the object fills the entire frame. And again, deep space, shallow focus, and it's a close-up. Keeps our attention on this player so we don't get distracted by whatever this 2 is back here and what the fans are doing. Instead, we keep our eyes intently on this player and what he is doing. Now this close-up shot, what it's meant to do is to make us identify with whatever is being shot at the moment. And it oftentimes draws our attention, again, to human faces. This is what we're most trying to identify with. Anytime that a story is being told, we want to make a connection with the subject, which is usually a human. Sometimes, though, you'll have a close-up of an object, which again is supposed to give us important details that relate to the narrative. And instead of using dialogue to say, hey, this object is important, the camera will simply do a close-up on it, and then we as audience members make the connection, okay, that object is important. I need to keep my eye out for that object in the future. Now here's an extreme close-up. And this is, again, a term that confuses people a lot of times when they first start hearing about the jargon associated with cinematography. An extreme close-up means that you have an object that's being focused on, but the edges of that object are cut off. So here we have the close-up of the football. An extreme close-up of the football. The entire football is not in this shot. What we have instead is just the laces and a little bit of the ball that surrounds it. So if it was a close-up, we would be able to see the entire football, but the entire football would fill the frame. In this particular instance, it's an extreme close-up because we can only see a part of the object. We know the object continues beyond the frame. And so this is shallow space, but again, notice that it's shallow space, deep focus. So we only have one plane available, one viewing plane available, which is the foreground. But everything within this plane is in focus. It's not just focusing on the lettering. It's not just focusing on the laces. It's not just focusing on the texture of the football. All of it is in focus. And so we have shallow space, deep focus. Crisp, clear edges on everything that is in this shallow space. And you could imagine a shot that has only the laces in focus and the wording would be out of focus, but that's not what we have here. Again, shallow space, deep focus. That's the end of this video. I'm going to pick this up again in the next video.